What's up, guys? My name is Miles.
And my name is Fez.
And this is The Commodity.
And today we're looking at the 5 strangest UFO encounters in Australia. Hard stop. Australian aliens.
But before we take a look at this video, we'd like to go ahead and give a big thank you to our sponsor. We were pretty skeptical when we were first introduced to the bone conduction audio technology, but the U.F.O bone conduction waterproof headphones took that skepticism away pretty quickly. These IP68 rated headphones are perfect for people like us that enjoy every second that they can get in the water, but also want to enjoy music as well. Being made of lightweight titanium materials, they are super comfortable and won't cause earaches after long usage like traditional headphones. Not only do they support Bluetooth, but they also have 16 gigabytes of memory to download music onto the headphones themselves. That way you can listen to music underwater without Bluetooth connection issues. If you want to get a pair for yourself or a friend, click our affiliate link below in the description. All right, so going into this is day 3 of our 4-day binge of Mysterious Mysteries. This video specifically was suggested to us by Firebrand. Firebrand, I've never seen you in our suggestion box. If you've been there before, I'm sorry.
But welcome.
Welcome now, and thank you for the suggestion. Guys, if you want to shout out, if you guys want a shout out like Firebrand got, go ahead and click the link in our description below. It'll take you to our Discord, and you can throw the video links that you want us to check out in there. Also, the link to the headphones are down there if you want to click on those. And before we hop in this video, if you would, go ahead and give us a thumbs up. It just truly helps us out in getting these videos out to more people. Also, if you would, go ahead and click that subscribe button, the bell notification icon. That way you guys can stay informed on our future videos. And if you'd like to help support the channel even more and get an exclusive YouTube short shout out, click that join button down below. Also, if you guys enjoy the original video, the link to this video will be down in the description if you guys want to go check out this channel.
Let's do it.
The skies over the Australian continent are home to some of the most spectacular naturally
That's a beautiful picture. Look at that.
Fantastic displays of forked lightning storms, giant hailstones, swarms of fruit bats by the thousands, and in some places, you may be lucky enough to witness the beautiful glow of the southern lights. The Australian skies
I've never heard
are
that.
also home to another kind of phenomenon.
What?
The southern lights. Obviously, we hear about the northern lights because there are certain, even outside of Alaska, that you can see the northern lights. It's just typically on the very northern side of the country. But I've never even knew there was such thing as the southern lights. I mean, same concept. It's all about what? I think it's like cold, the angle of the earth, and
mysteries.
Magic. I don't know.
It's mysterious.
From a family's car being attacked by a strange light on the Nullarbor plain, to a pilot's mysterious disappearance after a frightening radio call over the Bass Strait. These are the top 5 strangest Australian UFO encounters.
We do believe in aliens, by the way.
100%.
Welcome back to another episode of Shadow Matter. Today's episode, we're going to be exploring some of the most fascinating and frightening stories of those who have witnessed UFOs or aerial phenomenon in Australia. Now, the Australian government's stance on the subject of UAPs is neutral. Officially, the Australian Department of Defence has confirmed it will not be looking into any investigations of UFOs, despite the American government opening investigations on UAPs.
Oh yeah, you remember this?
So recently, yes, over the past few years.
This happened like last year.
But I'd say 2 or 3 years, there's been footage released, and they've opened investigations.
And a lot of pilots have came out.
Yes.
Air Force pilots. Now, what's funny is PewDiePie has actually made some really good videos kind of going against what this is, because they're talking about how it looks fast and how if you're really zoomed in and you're trying to track something because you're so close in, it's going to make it look like it's moving really fast. So there's,
I don't know. UFOs are real.
In the interest of military and civilian aerial safety. Whether you're a skeptic or a believer, it's important to keep an open and analytical mind when hearing these stories. So with that little disclaimer out of the way, let's get into the top 5 encounters.
What? Westall
This
School.
encounter takes place in Melbourne at Westall High School on Wednesday, the 6th of April, 1966. It was around 11 a.m. About 200 students, teachers, and local residents witnessed a large flying object of a silver-grey colour hovering above the school's oval and the nearby Grange Reserve. Reports state that the object in question was cigar-shaped, about twice the size of a family car, and a slight purple hue. The students and a teacher reported that the unknown object was descending, overflew the school, and landed, disappearing from view behind some trees in a nearby field. Approximately 20 minutes later, the object reportedly reappeared, ascending into the sky with speed, and departed towards the northwest. Andrew Greenwood, one of the teachers at Westall High School who taught science to Year 9 students, was one of the witnesses. He reports that he witnessed a craft, a mechanical object that appeared to be intelligently controlled, hovering above himself and the students. He also said that 5 small planes hovered around the object. After the object disappeared, 40 minutes later, Air Force and military personnel in their trucks poured into the area and formed a security barrier around the reserve where the craft had landed. Mr. Greenwood, knowing the area well, snuck into the field with other witnesses to see what was going on. He states, "We saw a circular area, like the trampled grass, and there were guards around it, and there were people..."
Okay, so there's this many witnesses. There's 200 people that saw this, okay? And then let's say even 50 to 75 of them saw the swarm of military right after. There's no way that this can be disputed as, like, the military didn't at least think that it was a UFO.
Right.
Or something.
It's so...
Don't trust your government, children.
People in there with equipment. Greenwood later spoke to local newspaper
That's not to Australia, that's to the world.
reporters about
Right.
what he and countless others had witnessed, but later became frightened about speaking of it when 2 weeks after the incident, 2 men claiming to be government officials knocked on the door of his home. One in plain clothes, and the other was in a senior Air Force uniform. The men told the teacher that he was mistaken about what he had saw, and that he hadn't really seen anything. They also threatened Mr. Greenwood not to say anything more, or they
How
would
did we
make
find
sure
out
he
about
lost
this?
his job, insinuating
Well, that's him.
that he was drunk on duty the day of the incident. For over 56 years, the witnesses have maintained they saw a strange craft that day. Whatever it was, has never been fully explained.
You didn't see anything. No.
So he finally divulged.
Well, he
finally spoke.
I guess so. Came out and said that
Or this was all information that he put out before he got threatened to not bring it up. But who would
then
have
we
mentioned
found out that he got threatened.
Yeah, who would have brought that up? You
Right.
know? So,
Mysterious mysteries.
some of that seems a little BSy to me. Just because if he was willing to divulge that he was being threatened,
Right.
they would have.
They would have already came and got him. No, I completely agree.
So I kind of find that one a little hard to believe, but yeah.
The Nullarbor Plain is a vast, flat, almost treeless, and semi-arid country that occupies an area of 200,000 square kilometres, expanding through the border between the states of South Australia and West Australia. The Air Highway is the 1.6 thousand kilometre road that stretches across the plain along the coast of the Great Australian Bight. Along this highway, many travellers may get to see red kangaroos, dingoes, and other various scenes of natural beauty.
His arms are short
But on
like
the
a T-Rex.
21st of January 1988, the Knowles family encountered something more bizarre and frightening. Faye Knowles and her adult sons, Patrick, Wayne, and Sean, were driving from Perth to Melbourne.
I like
when
how they use
encountered
such a
large
young-looking
glowing object
woman.
on the highway. The family first encountered the unknown
There you go,
object
we're
at
accurate.
around 4 a.m. on the highway, when they noticed a bright light floating above the road in the distance. Thinking logically, they dismissed it as either an oncoming vehicle or possibly a large road train. As they got closer to the bright light, it swiftly moved and began hovering above their family sedan. Distracted and panicked, the Knowles swerved to avoid a collision with
No swerving, just stopping. I'm just stopping.
the passing vehicle. The glowing orb then seemed to switch paths and began following the passing vehicle. The Knowles family then made a U-turn to get a better look at the strange light. The light had seemingly disappeared. Shrugging off the incident as an optical illusion, the family continued on with their journey. Sometime later, along the highway, the Knowles family unexpected travel companion had returned. The family recall a strange sensation, like something heavy pushing down on the roof of their car. This feeling made the car uncontrollable and heavy to drive. The unknown light began emanating a high-pitched buzzing sound. The Knowles began to feel disorientated. Apparently, the car was then picked up off the road by the light. The car then shook quite violently and was forced back down on the road with such force that it blew one of the rear tires. Sean Knowles, who was driving, put his foot on the accelerator as his mother screamed, but their voices were distorted, as if time was being slowed down. Their family car finally came to a stop by the side of the highway, and the Knowles fled into the dark bushland. They hid for some time before gaining the courage to go back to the car and change the tire. The family then drove to Ceduna in the far west of South Australia, where they reported the incident to police. The police had also received separate reports from others that had sighted the UFO and took the Knowles family report seriously. After investigating the car for evidence, they found more strange signs. The car was damaged on the outside and covered in a strange ash inside and outside the car.
That is
Despite
odd.
several witnesses and the strange evidence left behind, the Knowles family never received any answers to their frightening encounter.
So I think the first thing I'd want is like a test on the sand or the dirt or whatever it was that was found in it to see if it's from the same location.
Right.
The part of it like being picked up and shaken and all that kind of stuff. Do you think if you were a alien on another planet with your spaceship, is that one thing you would do?
I don't know. I might want to fuck around.
A bunch of stoner aliens.
But apparently
like, watch
multiple people have claimed the same thing.
Right. So could there be...
These two fucking aliens just coming down, shaking cars and shit.
I mean, I truly don't know. But could it be because, I mean, you're far enough south where one of the very, you're in the southern pole where probably heavily magnetism. I don't know. I'm just trying to throw out things at this point. I'm just like, I got no idea.
Yeah, there's no explanation.
There's no explanation. I'm like, could it be this? Could it be that? Could it be like some area that is
51?
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, what the fuck?
All right,
like, I don't know.
Let's check out number 3. The truly Queensland UFO nest.
On a foggy morning
I'm
in
trying to be
January
logical, but I can't.
1966, George Pedley, a banana farmer who lived near Tully in the far north of Queensland, was driving his tractor near a lagoon on his property when he heard a loud, ear-piercing, hissing noise above the noise of the engine. Immediately, George stopped the tractor thinking he had sustained a puncture. He got out to check the tractor's tires, but before he could see to the tires, he spotted something peculiar. In his own words, he noted, "A flying saucer rose at great speed from near the lagoon." Scared to move, he stood stuck to the spot as he witnessed the strange craft vanish from sight in a mysterious cloud of blue vapor. George, transfixed on the UFO, finally plucked up the courage to move again. He cautiously went to investigate where the craft had risen from. What he found would perplex investigators, meteorologists, and even George himself. When he peered through the reeds near the lagoon, he found a nest-like mark, 9 meters in diameter. After reporting this strange incident, meteorologists came to investigate. They found that the reeds had been fused together, usually caused by intense heat.
Wow.
George states that some of the reeds continued swirling for some time after the unidentified craft left. Looking for logical explanations, the meteorologists suggested that the UFO nest may have been disturbed by a whirlwind of sorts. But when a lack of other evidence failed to confirm this theory, the Tully nest made international headlines.
I mean, a whirlwind that's like hundreds of degrees.
Mm-hmm.
The Tully nest in Queensland has never been fully explained.
Yeah, that's odd.
So this actually reminds me of something that actually happened to me. So in Tennessee, I used to live in this neighborhood, and I mean, I wouldn't say like the houses were very spread apart, but they were like, it was a traditional U.S. neighborhood where you probably got like
mine
30-foot front yards.
like the one we had in Roy City.
That was way bigger yard. That was an acre lot, probably.
Yeah.
But I would say about 30 to 40 foot. No, probably about 40 to 50 foot lot. So big, but not huge. You don't necessarily need a riding lawnmower, but it just speed things up. And I used to go visit my friend. I mean, I was young. I was probably like 8 to 12 years old living here or something like that. And I'd go visit my friend just literally up my small little cul-de-sac. I don't know if y'all call it the same thing, cul-de-sac. So basically a street that goes into just a big circle.
It's a dead end.
To a dead end. So I'm guessing y'all have the same name. But so I lived in a cul-de-sac, and he lived in like one of those cul-de-sac without the street. It was just like a spot in the road that they carved out a few extra places for people to live. And so every now and then it was a safe neighborhood. Nobody was getting kidnapped or anything like that. Of course, this was also the 90s, so people weren't too worried about it. And I would leave his house at like 1 or 2 in the morning and then run over to my house and then go inside and go to bed, whatever, during the summertime. And I remember distinctively, so his cul-de-sac and another one kind of backs into each other. And between like 3 houses, I was in the front of the houses his cul-de-sac, but behind one of the houses, all of a sudden, all these blinking lights just went super strong, like super bright, like more than a strobe light. I mean, it was like spotlight level bright. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, I freaked out instantly, but I was like, what the fuck? And so I instantly, like a moron kid I was, because back then I was real adventurous. Mm-hmm. I ran up to the side of the house that it was flashing from, thinking that I may have been able to catch like who was doing it or what it was. And I literally, right as the light was bright, I start to peer around, it goes down, and then nothing is there. Nothing, not a single person. All the lights in the houses were completely turned off. Mm-hmm. And it couldn't have been from inside the house, because could you imagine how bright that is?
Right.
So it was just oh my gosh, bro. I ran as fast as I could. I probably ran like a 2-minute mile home. Like it's not even a mile, but I mean, if it was a mile, it was a 2-minute mile. It was insane. It scared the shit out of me. So seeing that flashing light instantly put me back in that spot.
Yeah.
It was so weird.
Number 2, the Kelly Cahill case.
The case of Kelly Cahill, which is an alias used to protect her privacy, is one of the more frightening and beyond belief UFO cases ever documented in Australia. The incident begins in the foothills of the Dandenong Ranges in the early hours of August 8, 1993. Kelly and her husband Andrew were driving home after visiting a friend's house when she saw what looked like an airship with a ring of orange headlights hovering over the road ahead. Thinking it was a strange new blimp, they continued driving. As they approached, Miss Cahill was blinded by an intense light. The next thing the couple remember was waking up in their now parked car and feeling strangely relaxed. But somehow, an hour of time had passed. After returning home, Kelly discovered a strange triangle-shaped mark above her navel. According to different sources, she also began unexpectedly menstruating and was treated at hospital for a womb infection. Some weeks later, the mother of 3 began to recall more details about the missing hour. She states that after getting out of the car to see the strange light in a field, Kelly saw 2 other cars also stop to investigate what she believes was a UFO. In an interview, she recalls the orange lights and a blue substance underneath. Then Cahill remembers seeing a number of tall, skinny black figures with bulging red eyes appear in front of the UFO and approach the couple. In her own words, she states, "I started screaming. I felt this blow to my stomach and went flying in the air. And then I heard my husband say, 'Let go of me,' and this male voice that said, 'I mean you no harm.'" UFO researchers
I mean you no harm, I just fucking gut punched the shit out of your wife.
Have you seen the movie Mars Attacks?
I don't know.
It's an old movie. It had a lot of super famous people. I believe it was made in the 90s. And there's a part where they're using translators, the aliens are, to speak to humans. And there's a part of the movie where he's got a gun blasting at somebody, and he's like, "Don't run! Stop running! I come in peace!" as he's shooting at him. Great movie if you haven't seen it.
Investigating the case found other witnesses who can corroborate Kelly Cahill's story. Some of them even claim to have the same triangular-shaped marks above their navels. What should be noted is that none of the other witnesses have been ever interviewed by mainstream media. This story, being as colorful as it was even featured in the sci-fi TV program, The X-Files.
Oh, I love
and Kelly
that
herself
series.
published a book on the event.
Number 1, the disappearance of Frederick
It's not
somebody.
an aircraft. These were one of the final words from pilot Frederick Valentich via radio before he and his plane disappeared somewhere over the Bass Strait in October 1978. Frederick Valentich was 20 years old in 1978 when he was looking to increase his flight time hours. He was a keen aviator and desperately wanted to join the Royal Australian Air Force. He had applied twice, but was rejected on both occasions due to inadequate educational qualifications. He held a Class 4 instrument rating, which authorized him to fly at night, but only if weather conditions made the flight visually clear. Valentich was studying to become a commercial pilot. After failing 5 times for his commercial license, he was determined to increase his flight hours and gain more experience. So on October the 21st, 1978,
He's not giving
Fred
up.
Valentich planned to fly from Moorabbin in Victoria to King
Probably
Island
wishes he
in the
did
Bass
now.
Strait. He left Moorabbin at approximately 6:19 p.m.
That's so
Just
cool.
under an hour later, at 7:06 p.m., he made radio contact with air traffic control in Melbourne. He asked if there was any sort of aircraft in the area. Traffic control replied that there was no known traffic in the area. He went on to report a large unknown aircraft that had flown over the top of his Cessna airplane. He states, "It seems to be playing some sort of game. He's flying over me." The pilot described to air traffic control the description of the unidentified craft, stating that it had a shiny metal surface and a green light on it. He indicated that the craft was orbiting his own plane from about 300 meters above. When asked to identify the unknown aircraft further, Valentich then replied, "It's not an aircraft."
It's
His
an
transmission
Oldsmobile.
was then interrupted by unidentifiable noises described as being metallic scraping sounds.
That's
And
trippy.
then, all contact
Hell
was
yeah.
lost. A sea and air
Bye,
search was
Felicia.
undertaken shortly after Valentich failed to land at his destination on King Island. The search covered 2.6 thousand square kilometers and lasted 4 days.
Damn.
The search produced no result.
Is that more than the Prime Minister
An
had?
investigation
Yeah, I think so.
into Valentich's disappearance by the Australian Department of Transport was unable to determine the cause, but it was presumed fatal. For over 40 years, Frederick Valentich and his Cessna 182 aircraft have never been found. This has been another episode of
That's trippy.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, the argument could have been made like, well, he's dumb. But at the same time, why the F are you letting him
But
fly
just
airplanes?
because he's undereducated doesn't make him like
Delusional.
stupid.
Exactly. And my argument would be like, you're letting him fly a effing airplane, so obviously you don't think he's that stupid. And second, like the screeching metallic noises at the end, like that's it for me. Aliens.
like
That's
Alien
an alien.
Predator alien.
Yeah.
Yeah, got on the plane and just. Yeah. No, I don't know. And I go back to the story before where, just there has to be something. There's too many people that have encountered things like ourselves where it's not necessarily provable outside of stories. I mean, just like feeling like there's ghosts
Right.
or something like that. And again, I believe in that as well to a certain extent because I've encountered situations where I have no way to explain what happened.
Right.
Like literally hearing my name.
Like
in my
even saying
house.
it's a ghost is like unexplainable. There's no explanation for it. So
Like, could it be your brain playing jokes on you?
exactly.
Like he may have died and somehow he got in an accident that left no evidence.
Of anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
no.
that changed that. Just talking that out just changed my mind about that one.
Right. Well, that could be the government again hiding things from you.
Yeah, let us
Just like
know.
they hide things from us.
Let us know down in the comments if you have your own theory behind it, because I'd be really interested in hearing any of these stories if you have theories.
Yeah, 100%. I would too as well.
But guys, I hope y'all enjoyed this video. If you did, hit the like button. If you want to see our future videos, hit the subscribe
Just hit that subscribe button.
and hit the bell notifications. If you want to support us directly, hit that join button. With that being said,
My name's Miles.
and my name is Fez.
Thanks for watching, guys.
Peace.
Out.